I am Todd Theodore Domer.
And I am Matt Preston Malloy,
And
Esquire.
oh crap! Let's take it again. I am Todd Theodore Logan. Dang it! I am Todd Theodore Domer.
And I am Matt Preston Malloy, Esquire.
And we are Wild Stallions! Hello, and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies. Half quarantine edition, but new movie edition. The podcast where Matt and Todd go see a movie, this time at our local drive-in theater named Benji's. And we see a movie, and we talk about it. Likes, dislikes, interesting facts sometimes. You never know what you're going to get with us. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy. And yes, we are excited to finally see a new first release movie at a theater for the first time since we reviewed The Hunt.
Oh, The Hunt was the last one we saw in theaters?
That was the last one we saw in theaters.
Man, if what a sad existence if movie theaters died. And that was the movie we ended on. Luckily, I don't think theaters are dead, so.
Not yet.
Yeah.
They're hanging on by a thread.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So, yes. Just a couple days ago, we went and saw this exciting addition to the Bill and Ted series, the third movie in the Bill and Ted saga, which takes place 20 years after 25 years.
25 years, I think, yeah.
After the second installment, so everybody's much older. Some actors are playing the roles that they didn't play before, so people have been replaced.
True. True.
Keanu and whatever his name is, Bill Winters.
Winters. Alex Winters? No.
Alex Winters, yes.
Not Bill.
Bill S. Preston, played by Alex Winters,
there we go.
are back and give a performance. So.
Yeah, so what did we say the other night? Keanu and Alex are back.
Uh-huh.
And then Keanu's dad.
Right. Same actor.
And Death.
Death.
Are the only characters that came back.
I think that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of characters that were in the other movies that are back, but not
played by the same
actors or actresses
right.
that played them.
Right. You got it.
All right.
So yes, we saw this movie, and the movie is actually called Bill and Ted Face the Music. What is it about? It is about, obviously, older Bill and Ted, and they are married, and they have been searching their whole lives to record this perfect song that will unite humanity, and so far they have failed in that. And so this movie is about, they get kind of called to the future, to the principal's office, and the future people tell them that they're doing a bad job and they have only a little while to finish recording this song. So then it becomes a race against time, and Bill and Ted's daughters come into play. They are 24 years old.
Yes. One named Billy and the other named
Theodora,
yes.
Right. And those don't match up with the characters
so
Bill and Ted.
Ted's daughter is Billy.
Right.
And then Bill's daughter is Theodora.
Right.
Because they named them after each other.
Right. So, so there's a bunch of time traveling stuff, and a band is recruited of famous musicians. So there's a lot of throwbacks to the first two movies, and basically the journey is, this time constrained, exciting effort to record a song at a specific place in time, which they don't realize, and that's what the movie's about. You get plenty of plenty of Bill and Ted action. If you're familiar with the first two movies, this is more of the same. And what are your thoughts, Todd?
Well, I'll start by saying that I think there are definitely good things to like about this movie, and then there are a couple of things that as I've had a couple of days to think about it, and I even had these thoughts right after we watched it. I tried to shut my brain off to not think about it, but that's just an impossibility.
It's hard.
That I think were little missteps. So, luckily most of them don't involve spoilers, so I'm going to talk about them and feel free of consequences. There we go. Because there's no spoilers. So, the things that I really liked about this movie is that I think it did a really great job of blending nostalgia and the older movies with a similar but new direction of a new movie. Like, my absolute favorite part of the movie is the beginning, because the beginning is a wedding scene where Deacon, Ted's kid brother, is marrying Missy, who was the girl that Bill and Ted asked to the prom when they were freshmen and she was a senior. Then she married Bill's dad, divorced him, marries Ted's dad. So the movie just starts on this really fantastic callback to those movies, and she's marrying the younger brother. And I was like, probably not. The scene is funny, but it's really not even like that funny. But I was laughing almost all the way through it because I was like, what a genius thing to do. Like, it just started off on such a good foot with me. It has nothing to do with the story. It's just there and fun. I thought Keanu and Alex did a great job of stepping into these roles and playing them as older guys, but still capturing the kind of like magic of those characters. I thought the two women who played the daughters did a really great job of like kind of capturing the characters of Bill and Ted, but like kind of just like almost mimicking them, but then kind of creating their own characters. I thought acting wise everything was pretty good. Like, I don't think there was anything that was like stellar or through the stratosphere or like deserves an award of any kind, but it's a win to me if everyone just pulls their own weight and there's not a super kind of like, done. So, that was great. I think overall direction of the movie is kind of at times a little wishy-washy, but you're still enthralled with the story and stuff like that. You're wondering what's going on and all this kind of stuff. So, it's a good story, good pacing. Nothing, again, fantastic, but it was still good. I guess the graphics are pretty good too. There's a little bit more CGI in this movie, obviously, because we're in a CGI-based world of film right now. And that's all fine. So, those are like the good parts to me. There's a couple of parts that I was like, these are misses with me. And number one has to be a character in the movie that I was like, serves almost no purpose to me. There's a robot in the movie, and it's like very stupid comic relief. It was a distraction for me, and I just didn't like it. I mean, it just was I don't know really how to summarize this without going into a great rant, but it's very indicative of current comedies and how things play out in movies today, where a movie can be funny naturally, but then there's always, in my opinion, in comedies nowadays, where there's a character shoehorned into it that is just comic relief, and it's too much. Like, like you're watching it and you're like, this is way too much. It's not funny, you tried too hard. That's what this character was. So you could have just eliminated this character from the movie completely, and I don't think there would be any misstep in that. And we talked about it a little bit when we finished watching it, but I always have a weird time with movies that are about time travel, but the movie itself is under a time restraint. Like, they have to get something done by a certain time, and that's the driving story of the movie, yet it's a movie about time travel. So it's like,
right.
Those things don't work with me.
They didn't solve that from the first movie.
No,
They
not
were
at
also
all.
under the same
Yes.
type of time.
So I guess they
constraint.
were just like, well, we did it the first movie, well, might as well do it again. Which, for nostalgia's sake, I'm like, okay, cool. But from like, come on, guys. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I don't think this movie really blew me away. So much of my emotions are wrapped up in it, in the fact that it was the first theatrical release movie we've seen in 6 or 7 months.
It's gonna get a little bump just for that.
Yeah, honestly, it's like, but I thought it was a fine final installment. I don't think it went out. I don't think everything ended on this glorious bang that maybe die-hard Bill and Ted fans would want. But it went out fine. It didn't go out with a whimper, which I think is everyone's fear when you're coming back to a movie from a series that hasn't done anything in a while. A la, like, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Like, that kind of ended that franchise on a whimper.
Unless they make another movie.
Unless they make another movie. Which, I mean, part of me hopes they do, because I want that one kind of pushed aside. There's always possibility, Matt, and I'll tell you why. Because for the longest time, Rocky V was the final Rocky we had, and it was like ending with a whimper. And then Rocky Balboa came out, and everyone laughed and stuff like that. But it was a great movie. It was a great bang. And it still kept going, but that was the movie that brought it back, and it was great. So there's always possibility. But back to Bill and Ted, I don't think this trilogy ended on a whimper. I think it ended on a good note. Not like a solid best film note, but a solid note. And I think that's where I'm going to end it, except for one last thing. When I was talking about the blending of nostalgia and stuff like that, like, they did a great job, like you were saying in your description, of collecting characters and musicians from all time, which is like, feels like the first. And then they did a good job of, like, having elements from the second movie in it, like death and stuff like that. That's not a spoiler. He's in the trailers. So I think they just did a good job of borrowing from both movies to create this third movie. And Matt,
all right.
What did you think?
Well, I agree with a lot of what you said, for sure. I thought it's a solid movie. If you're a Bill and Ted fan, you'll probably really enjoy it. You might want to refresh yourself if you are not a super fan. Watch one or two of the first two.
Right.
And you might enjoy it a little bit more that way. But I don't think it's necessary, for sure. You just might have to kind of go with some stuff that's really explained in the first two movies. I thought if there's any criticism, well, there's some minor criticisms, and I agree with the ones that you pointed out, but if there's an overall criticism, is that maybe this movie is a little bit too much like the first one in some ways. It's a very similar plot, people going through time collecting people for some kind of final project is pretty much exactly what happened in the first one, and it happens in this one too. But there's also the visit to the environment of the second movie and stuff like that. So
Sure.
I don't think that's a huge deal, but if you were going to criticize this movie, I wouldn't argue with you if you brought that up as, well, they're just remaking this. Similar to what they did with, the Star Wars.
Star Wars Episode 7?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was very much
Pretty
like
much just a
Star
New
Wars
Hope again.
Episode 4. So, which is fine. I like both those movies. I know not everyone did, but I thought a recasting, a retelling of similar events in a similar way was fine. What I really liked about this movie, I did like the blending of nostalgia and new stuff. That was good. But what I really liked is the ending of the movie. That ending was, I don't know, it's just kind of one of those heartwarming, happy, joyful things where things go right. I feel like in the world we're living in right now,
Sure.
A little Mary Sue-ism is not a bad thing in a movie, and I was there for it. It was enjoyable. So, if you who should see this movie, if you're a Bill and Ted fan, you for sure should see this movie. If you are looking to see a movie in theaters and you have that ability, this is the only option right now. And
well, no, that Russell Crowe movie is still out, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Unhinged or whatever.
Okay. Well, that one's out there
tough
too.
choice, but
right. It's the only one for us to see. Our only option, because theaters are still closed. But yeah, so I'd say take a look at this one if you're looking for a fun ride with some Bill and Ted zaniness. This is a good one for that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Shoot, there was something you said that I wanted to touch on, but now I can't remember it. So I'll touch on something that wasn't said that I wanted to touch on that I forgot to say.
All right.
Which was something that. Part of the best. One of the best parts of the movie to me, besides the wedding scene, is, and this is a negative towards the movie, is that the movie starts its adventure so fast, is that there's a very enjoyable scene where Bill and Ted and their princess wives are in counseling. Like, they go to couples counseling, but they all go together because it's Bill and Ted, obviously.
Right.
And that scene is just really funny and enjoyable. And I really wanted to see more scenes like their everyday life. What does everyday life look like for them? You're thrusted into the adventure part of this movie very fast. Like, it's like a slight ha-ha funny intro, and then a funny scene, and then boom, you're off to the races. And, I think that would have played much more better with me if we got to see some of that. Because once we're off to the races, we're seeing stuff, while enjoyable, we've already seen. But before we're off to the races, we're seeing new stuff that we've never seen from these characters. And I'm always down for a character exploration. What is life like? What are they doing? Like, what does a home dinner look like, or anything like that? So, yeah. But I agree with you. If you are a fan of Bill and Ted, you're probably going to see this even without us having to tell you. But if you're a fan of movies trying, and in our opinion, somewhat capturing the nostalgia goodness of older movies, then this is a movie for you. Or maybe if you just like movies, go see it. It's like, even if you have no information of 1 and 2, they kind of do an okay job of at least filling in here and there. Like, you're not going to be 100% lost. You just might not appreciate some of the stuff you're seeing as much as if you knew 1 and 2. So, Matt, to me, there's only one rating system for this movie, which is how many phone booths do you give this movie of 0 to 5?
Yes. For those who don't know, Bill and Ted travel through time in a phone booth.
Yeah. Some of you who are listening will be like, what's a phone booth?
Exactly. Well, so 0 to 5 phone booths. I'm coming in with a solid 3. Not like a super incredible movie, but a good time, and enough pluses that you get your head above water as far as you're above average, above that sort of midpoint line. So,
sure.
3.
Yeah, my first gut number that I'm sticking with was a 2.9. I think I would be a little bit higher if there's a side story in this movie about Bill and Ted's wives that is super interesting to me, and you don't ever get to see it, really. Like, yeah. And I don't want to go into too much detail about it because I think that would be a little bit of a spoiler. So there's just a side story with their wives, and you really don't get to see much of it.
Yeah.
But it is concurrently happening while everything else is happening that you're seeing. And it's just an odd choice to me. Right. Unless there's an extended DVD cut where they had in mind, they were like, this is a side tale that we're going to show everyone, but you have to buy the DVD to get it. Then I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit back in. Maybe I'll readjust my rating if they do that. But right now, 2.9.
Okay. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, where we review Bill and Ted Face the Music. And we gave it an average rating of 2.95 phone booths out of 5. And that's pretty good. So go check it out and keep listening to our podcast, and we'll keep making it. Thanks.
That bird is definitely listening to our podcast because it won't shut up.
Yes.
Jeez. Da 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 da
Da-da.
da da da
Da-da-da.
da 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 da.